the way that many people use violence so as to maximize the humiliation of the victim. There is not only an attack, but there's, tell me you want it. There's not only an attack, but there's additional things done to more profoundly humiliate and debase the person. So many people who perpetrate violence are more than aware of the power of humiliation. So that's understanding how violence is perpetrated. That's important to look upon the assault of the dignity of the person, because it then helps you see how the person attempted to preserve and reassert their dignity in the moment. And the other thing is that when you're working with people who've perpetrated violence, it's extremely important that they also are treated with the utmost dignity. A lot of the early perpetrator treatment programs were very heavy-handed. You may remember, I remember talking with Allan about this, and you know, Buddy was going to come into a room and you were going to shove responsibility down his throat, and we were going to, as Nick Todd would say, we were going to responsibilize the man, make him be responsible, as if you could ever do that. But of course, many people, just talking about these kind of hetero cliches, but in these hetero cliches, many men who've used violence deny the violence or make excuses and justifications, partly because they are afraid that you are going to see them as a non-redeemable human. And they're well aware of that. And so part of what people who've perpetrated violence do is also endeavor to retain their dignity. So it's one thing to talk, for example, we could get together, probably 6 of us here in this room, and in a relatively short period of time, we could create probably enough safety in a group that some people would feel comfortable to talk about maybe some very horrible experiences, things that were done to them. But it takes another kind of safety altogether to get 6 people who've perpetrated violence in a room to sit and talk together about how, yeah, not only did I beat her, then I raped her. That there's a whole different kind of context of dignity and safety that's required there. So part of treating offenders with dignity from our point of view, and I'll talk about this just a bit as we go forward, is that with very rare exceptions, we see violence as deliberate, and people who perpetrate violence as already possessing all the skills and awareness and abilities to be completely respectful and non-violent before you ever meet them. For example, that's why if you talk to women who have been with, say, several men have been abusive, and you say, what was he like in the beginning? What do they tell you? You're charming, lovely, gentle, respectful, great lover, got on great with my kids, communicated, blah, blah, blah. So if that man did not have the ability to do those things already, he wouldn't even be able to pretend. So people who perpetrate violence are not perpetrating violence all the time. There are many relationships typically in which they're actually quite respectful people some of the time. And so if we begin to look at that, then what we're saying is firmly, your actions are deliberate and you're responsible for them, and we know that you're completely capable of behaving differently, and we can find out that you're capable of behaving differently by looking at your excuses, your justifications, your denials, because people would not bother to deny that they've been violent if they didn't already know it was wrong, would they? You want men to deny because they're telling you they know it's wrong. I know that sounds strange, but excuses and justifications are good for that purpose. And so from our point of view, it's much more dignified to treat men as capable, competent social actors than as people who just are stupid and hapless, are driven by forces they don't understand, and need us to tell them how to behave. From our point of view, that's humiliating. And you don't get people to be responsible in that way. So we treat men as capable. And our experience has been that when you do that, it's not a psychoeducational program. It's a program of continually drawing the man's attention to his own competency and his own choice making. In the context of certain interactions. That's how our work with offenders goes. Yeah, that's a great question.